Meeting is being recorded. Okay, so I'd like to welcome everyone this evening to this an introduction to meditation course. So I thought I'd probably just start by introducing myself. So my name is Ajahn Nando. I'm actually originally from Winnipeg. I was born here and raised here, but in 2006 I went to Thailand and became a Buddhist monk. So I've been a monk ever since then, and and uh, and so now I'm back in Canada now and working on trying to establish a forest monastery in Canada. And so yeah, so this course is going to be a 5 week introduction to meditation course. So it's the setup for it is really laid back. You know, you can come to whichever ones you want. Come, don't come. It's up to you guys. Also, if you need to leave early for anything or come late, that's no problem too. Just try to do it quietly so it doesn't disturb anyone else. And but with these classes, there's going to be 5 classes, and they're all going to build on each other. So we're going to start out today with the real basics of meditation, and then we're slowly going to build on that and learning more skills, more different techniques, and different ways to meditate. So meditation, it is kind of a term that's used a lot, and it has different meanings in different contexts, and different groups of people have different practices that they call meditation, or different techniques that they use for meditation. So, because I'm from the Thai forest tradition, and it's Theravada Buddhism, so our tradition is about trying to keep things as close to the way the Buddha taught them as we can. So, all my teaching is going to be in the context of that. So, if you've learned a different way of meditation. I'm just teaching the way that I know and the way that we understand this. So meditation, it's a set of practices and skills for really developing our minds and getting control of our minds, of bringing more peace and calm into our lives, and of really learning how to strengthen our minds and take control of our minds. Because one of the things you see in your day-to-day life, you see how much your mind is in control, and how much your moods and your different mind states, they really seem to just take over and control your life. You know, someone says something nice to you and you're all excited and happy and everything's great. And then someone else comes and says something mean to you, and your mind just drops and you're in a bad mood and you're angry or you're hurt. And your mind is constantly dragging you around like that. So with meditation, we're learning to strengthen and make our mind more firm, and so that we're in control of the mind, so it becomes more of a tool. Because so much of our life, we're taught um, how to use the mind, how to turn it on, how to really activate it, but we're never really taught how to slow it down or how to turn it off. So that's part of what we're going to be learning here. So the founder of the tradition I ordained in, his name was Ajahn Chah, and he started this tradition back in the 50s. And one of the things he said was, to strengthen your body, you move it around. But when you want to strengthen your mind, you bring it to stillness. So that's what we're going to be learning to do today. So in Buddhism, there's really there's lots of different types of meditations. The traditional set we have is that there's 40 different ways the Buddha taught to meditate, or different meditation objects you can use. But they all fall broadly under 2 categories. One is ones that are for concentration or tranquility, and the other ones are more insight and for developing wisdom. And so we're going to work in the beginning here at that, really developing that calm, that concentration, that tranquility meditation. And so we're going to start with today with one called breath meditation. So in there's a couple terms, we have to kind of learn to when we come to Buddhism, or when you come to any type of meditation, or even any type of like modern, like, self-improvement, spiritual things. So one of the terms you hear a lot is mindfulness. And, it sounds great, but what exactly is it, right? So the word it comes from is, in the Pali language, is called sati, like Sati. And so we usually translate either mindfulness and awareness. So these terms are interchangeable. But what this term means is it has two functions. Is one, it's the ability to bring something into your mind, to bring something up into your mind. And then it's the ability to hold that in your mind. And so breath meditation, the Pali name for it is called anapanasati. So it actually just means mindfulness of the in breath and mindfulness of the out breath. So we're going to learn how to bring our awareness, our mindfulness to the breath, and then be able to keep it there. And so it sounds very easy, but actually in practice, it takes a lot of practice and it takes a lot of time. Because one of the things you're going to find when you start meditating is um, that when you start watching the breath and you're mindful for a bit, you lose it very quickly. And then, so a lot of the practice is just being able to bring that back and you just reestablish the mindfulness again. So Ajahn Chah, he compared it to pouring water. He took a bottle of water and started pouring it out to illustrate it. And in the beginning, it was just drip, drip, drip. And then as he poured it a little more, it's drip, 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 drip. And then more and more, and eventually it becomes a solid stream. And so it's going to be like that with our mindfulness during our practice. In the beginning, we'll have it for a bit, we'll lose it, we'll get it back, we'll lose it. But then as we keep practicing and time goes on, um, we'll get more and more mindfulness until we're able to stay continuously with our breath. And as our mind starts to stay with this one object, one of the things we're going to see is that the mind calms down. All that thinking, all that proliferation, all of that is going to calm down. A lot of our stress is going to reduce. A lot of our anxiety is going to reduce. And we're going to just find uh, overall, like the quality of our life really ends up improving. So all of the things we do here, it's really to improve our life and make ourselves happier, reduce all that stress and suffering we have in our own life, which is caused by our own overthinking or obsessive thinking. So when we start to meditate, one of the things to go over is the posture we use to meditate in. So, traditionally you see monks, like sitting like the Buddha statues, legs crossed, up straight, but we don't actually have to sit like that. It is an optimal position. It is great, but any position which is comfortable, your legs crossed, your legs to the side, sitting in a chair, lying down, and anything which is a comfortable position. Because, if your body's really tight and stressed, say you're trying to sit like this and your knees are hurting and you're stressing all the muscles in your back, there's no way you're going to be able to calm down or your mind and body can calm down. So whatever is comfortable. And but you don't want to be too comfortable that you just fall right asleep. So a little more alert to it is one thing you do see. So at the monastery I ordained at, our morning bell to wake us up is at 3 o'clock in the morning, and our morning chanting and meditation starts at 3:30. And it is something which takes you time to learn to be able to stay awake while you're trying to make the mind calm first thing in the morning. So you do see some monks who start nodding off while they're meditating. But yeah, so any posture is okay for meditation. But it's also important when we come to meditation to have the right attitude, because this is very different than other activities. So it's not something you can really just force yourself to be good at and force success. It's one of those things you just have to, you have to learn how to relax while you're doing it and really get that balance between not pushing too hard and not just being too laxed. So the Buddha compared it to tuning a lute. So nowadays that would be tuning a guitar. Anyone who's seen someone tune a guitar, you see them, they just trying to get that right sound. So it gets too tight and no, that doesn't work. And then they loosen it and it's too loose and it doesn't work. And then they end up adjusting right until they just get that right spot. So it's the same with us with our meditation. We'll over time learn how to not push too hard and not be too lax. And again, it just takes time. Like any skill in life, it just takes time. If someone was to go first time trying to learn how to play basketball, when they throw the ball, it's never going to go in the net, but over time it gets better. So uh, today, again, like I said, we're going to start with just the real basics of breath meditation. And then next week, we'll get into a few more techniques for doing the breath meditation. So I'll just give the instructions beforehand, just so we kind of know what's going to be happening. And then when we start the meditation afterwards, I'll just give a bit of a guided meditation and just guide people through it. So what we're going to first start doing is just um, being present in the aware and abide in the present moment. So, and just and then we're going to just relax a bit, and then we're going to start bringing our awareness into our bodies because our bodies can be really good for, grounding our mind because, the mind's always moving, going here and there, but right now the body's staying still. So it can be a great way to uh, ground the mind. And then we're going to start to work on the breath, and we're going to do a technique, which is watching the breath at the 3 points. So what we're going to do is we're going to watch the breath. Of course, watch with our mind, our mindfulness, not with our eyes. And we're going to watch it as it enters, and it's the experience of the breath. So we're going to experience the breath as it enters through the nose, and the feeling goes down to the chest, and then down to the abdomen on the in breath, and then on the out breath from the abdomen to the chest, and then to the nose. And one of the things we can do if we like is we can count with that. So we can just be aware one at the nose, two at the chest, and three at the abdomen. And then on the exhale, three at the abdomen, two at the chest, and then one at the nose. So this will, and then once we find our mind starts calming down and starts to settle down, um, we can just watch the breath at one of these points. So it might be the nose, somewhere around the nose, the face, could be at the chest, or could be the abdomen, because there really is no one perfect spot to watch the breath. It's not like it has to be at the nose or has to be at the chest. It's whatever works for you and wherever you find you're most aware of the breath. So, with that said, we can start the guided meditation, and we'll do maybe about half an hour of meditation. And then afterwards, if anyone has any question and answers or any questions, I'll try to answer them. Sorry. Yeah, if you have the answers, you don't need to ask it then, right? Okay. So we can all just start by getting into a comfortable position, getting into our meditation position, comfortable but alert. And we can just start to bring our awareness into the present moment. Just being aware of our experience here and now in the present moment. And we can just set down all of our thoughts about the past, and also set down all of our thoughts about the future. Right now, we can just abide in the present moment. And when we feel ready, we can just start to gently bring our awareness into our bodies, being aware of our experience in our bodies here and now, being aware of any feelings or sensations we're experiencing in the body. And if there's anywhere in the body we're experiencing tightness, tension, discomfort, we can just gently put our awareness on these areas, and we can just gently allow these areas to relax, not trying to force it, just allowing it to open up, to loosen up, allowing all that tightness and tension to just release and fade away. And when we feel ready, we can start to bring our awareness to the breath, becoming aware of the in breath and aware of the out breath. And we can try following the breath on the inhale, being aware when it enters the nose, moves down to the chest, and then into the abdomen. And then on the exhale, goes from the abdomen to the chest, and finally to the nose. And if we like, we can try counting with the breath. On the inhale, 1 at the nose, 2 at the chest, 3 at the abdomen. And then on the exhale, 3 at the abdomen, 2 at the chest, then 1 at the nose. So if your minds have started to wander off, you can just gently bring them back to the present moment, back to your meditation. So if our minds have started to wander off, we can just gently bring them back to our breath. So if the mind is wandered off, we can just gently bring it back to our breath. So now, as we're coming to the end of our meditation session, we can just start to gently bring our minds out of our meditation, but trying to maintain as much of that peacefulness, that calmness, that mindfulness, trying to carry as much of it with us. And when we feel ready, we can just gently open our eyes and finish our meditation session.